Okay, Year 7, let's have a look at exercise 6C, and now we're going to talk about subtracting fractions. So, subtracting fractions. And the same rule applies. When we're subtracting fractions, we must have a common denominator. Okay, so let's have a look at exercise 6C. Now, on your capacity matrix, you're meant to either do the third, fourth, or second column, second, third, or fourth. So I'm going to use the first column to explain how to do these. So I'm going to look at question 5 and 6 to do our subtracting fractions. So let's have a look at 5a. Now if I look at 5a, I've got 5 on 7 minus 3 on 7. So again, leave the denominator alone. It remains 7. And then you just perform the operation in the numerators. So 5 minus 3 is 2. That was pretty easy. Let's have a look at E. 3 on 5 minus 3 on 5. Leave the denominator alone and do the operation in the numerators. 3 minus 3 is 0. Oh no, this is a bit tricky. 0 divided by 5. Well, 0 divided by anything is 0. Don't confuse this as dividing by 0. That's a whole new thing altogether. And I. Let's have a look at I. 84 on 100 minus 53 on 100. Well, again, the denominator stays the same. And then we perform the operation in the numerator. So I might just go over here and go 84 minus 53. 4 minus 3 is 1. 8 minus 5 is 3. 31. So it's 31 over 100. Well, they were all pretty easy. They all had the same denominators. What happens when we don't have the same denominators? Well, let's have a look at 6a. And we've got 2/3 minus 1/4, 1/4. I have to find the lowest common denominator. Well, we've looked at that before. The easiest way to find a common denominator is to go 3 by 4, and that's 12. Now, I don't think there's another number that 3 and 4 go into. I could just look at the factors, the multiples of 4, so 4, 8, and 12, and I know that 3 doesn't go into 4, 3 doesn't go into 8, so 12 is the lowest. So we have to change these fractions to make them both out of 12. Well, 3 times 4 is 12, and I must do the same to the top as I do to the bottom, which is in essence multiplying by 1, because 4 on 4 is 1. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 4 is 12, so 8 on 12. Well, let's do the other one. 1 on 4. What do I multiply by to get 12 on the bottom? Well, I multiply by 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. Now we have a common denominator, and it's pretty easy. The denominator stays the same. 8 minus 3 is 5. 5 on 12. Let's have a look at 6e. I've got a half minus a third. Well, again, I need a common denominator. I'm just going to go for the old 2 times 3 is 6. And if I look at, there's no other numbers. That's the lowest common denominator I can get. because the only other numbers between 3 and 6 are 4 and 5, and I know that 2 and 3 do not go into either of them. So let's take a half. How do I make the bottom, or the denominator 6? I multiply by 3, so I'll do that top and bottom. And that'll give me 3 on 6. And we know that's a half. Let's do the third. And we'll multiply that top and bottom by 2. And that will give us 2 on 6. Leave the denominator alone. So we get 6. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 on 6. Let's have a look at the next one. 3 on 4 minus 5 on 8. And this is I. 3 on 4 minus 5 on 8. Well, again, I need a common denominator. I could go 4 times 8 and get 32. I've got a sneaking feeling there might be some other ones that are a little bit lower. So what are the multiples of 8? 8, 16. I know 4 goes into that. 24. 4 goes into that. 32. I do my 4 times tables. I get 4, 8. Oh, and there it is. There's the lowest common multiple, and hence the lowest common denominator. So 3 on 4, to make that 8 on the bottom, I multiply by 2, and I multiply by 2. And that'll give me 6 on 8. And I don't have to do anything to the second fraction because it's already over 8. I leave the denominators the same. 8. 6 minus 5 is 1. So that's questions 5 and 6. I'm going to come back and do another video for 8 and 9.